Hello everyone. First of all, a very happy new year to everyone. This is our first Property Zone live sessions in year 2020. Today we will be doing Q&A sessions. We will be picking some questions that have been PM to me or my colleagues. Then I will actually have time to find out how to share the answer out in these sessions. So stay tuned. We'll come back very soon. Hi, welcome back to Property Zone Live actually. So I'll just see my phone. I'm so tan now. We just had a company trip back from Phuket. This is all the vitamin C. So as I mentioned to you earlier, today we'll be doing a Q&A session. So I picked some of the questions from the audience because I find that two-way traffic probably is the best session we can have. No, having some questions, I can communicate. And if some of you had some questions, you can PM me or can post in the comment in the Facebook live session as well. So without further ado, let's go in to see some of the questions I got. Okay, the first one is actually from Feng from Puchong. She asked, I found a property I really like, but I almost bought it, but my family is against it because it's leasehold. What shall I do? I think if you are property scouting or property searching, I think freehold and leasehold is always coming up. Is freehold always better than leasehold? Actually, not necessary. But let's take a look at the leasehold thing that people associated with. You see, in general, we don't like leasehold. We prefer freehold. But why we don't like leasehold actually come out to two reasons. I think the first one is perceived slower appreciation. I think there is quite a common saying that freehold appreciate faster, quicker in terms of appreciation compared to leasehold. Sometimes for me, actually the vivid example happened to me is not necessary too. Let me show you some of my experience. At one given point of my life, I actually hold two property in Bangsa South. And how far are they is basically just 30 meters away. One is freehold, one is leasehold. So I was holding this property at one time, and I actually sold my leasehold property first, buying into the concept that freehold always appreciate faster. But of course, the freehold property that I had is an older one. So throughout the 5 years period after I've sold the property, the freehold has appreciated about 60%. But the leasehold has appreciated more than 100% given the same time frame. I think nowadays, property buyer, especially those who are buying for own sale, they look beyond just the freehold and leasehold factor. What they are looking at, concept is very important. The amenities, the securities play a big role in determining where your property price is heading. So, of course, perceived slower appreciation, another example is Pavilion. I think if you have remember when Pavilion launched more than 11 years ago, the price is almost triple now. So if people did not buy Pavilion just because it's leasehold status and perceived slower appreciation, I think the result says that now it's going about 2,000 per square feet for Pavilion. Of course, the second reason why people don't like about leasehold is, I have one customer told me before, if they buy a leasehold property, they won't be able to sleep soundly at night. And the reason is very simple. They're very afraid next day, the government will send them a so-called love letter. They say that, I want my land back. Please get out. So I think looking at this perspective, we have to understand about what Malaysian land laws is about. I think the quick one people can refer to is the National Land Code, or we call Land Acquisition Act 1960. So in other words, if the government want to take back a land for public interest, for example, to build MRT station, the vivid example is build MRT stations, first shopping mall in Malaysia. in KL in Malaysia. I think it's Ampang Park. This, all the owners in Ampang Park, they bought a freehold land. But when the government want to take over Ampang Park in order to clear way for the MRT station, they have no choice, but they have to relinquish. The government actually has the right to acquire back the land, even its freehold status. So if you ask me in terms of acquisitions wise, freehold, leasehold, on paper, it may seem a vast difference. But when it comes to land acquisition backed by the government, the differences is actually very limited. And in fact, there could be no difference at all. Now, coming back to the question, Fong, should you buy a leasehold property? If you want to buy, I think you should consider these 3 questions before you decide for your own. The first one is, are you buying for own stay or for investment? How long you intend to hold the property? So you see, I marked some of the answer for you in red color, but I'll explain to you why. Hi Alia, hi Camille, hi Yen. Welcome. I'm actually holding my FB. So, the second question you need to ask yourself, is it a landed or high rise? Is it a semi-D, a landed house, double-story house, or is it going to be a service apartment or condo? The third question I would normally ask myself to decide is, are the remaining lease less than 70 years? Or is it more than 70 years? Because, yes, a leasehold property, they are grouped into leasehold. But not all the leasehold property are the same. Would you agree with me? Because a leasehold property with a longer remaining tenure would have much better value compared to, let's say, remaining 30 years. Now, why do I say that? You can see, as mentioned to you, if I ask yourself this question, if your answer to the questions are all in red color, all in red, I should put in red color, perhaps freehold is a better option. But if any answer to the question is, if you're buying for investment, or this is actually a high rise, or the remaining years tenure is more than 70 years, I don't think it really bothers me that much. Okay, some may ask me, why high rise? I think it's very simple. Think about this. You think about high rise building as a car. As the building ages, it can maintain it very, very well. The management could have done a good job in maintaining the building, but ultimately, nothing can withstand time. Think about this. If you own a car for 30 years, you have serviced it on time, putting a very low mileage, but eventually you have to give it out to the time. So I think if you buy a high-rise condo, a high-rise surface apartment, high-rise building, as long as this building is more than 40, 50 years, I think the living condition may not be so appealing. The living condition may not be so good, and also you may have difficulty reselling it. So that's why you can see in many more developed countries, those aged more than 30, 40 years building, they actually make way for the new building to demolish it, and then they build the new building on top of the things. So we call re-urbanizations. So that's why if you're buying for high-rise, I'm not too concerned about having a leasehold status. And that's the reason why. Okay, so I hope to answer the questions. Hi, I just want to say hi to some friends. Hi, Eddie. Good to see you. Hi, Indrans. Always have you here. Hi, Yen. So let me come back to the second question. Okay, and again, this is a question posed by, let's come back to it. I think the ultimate answer is, we will receive many advice, information, or research from papers, from articles, or from people around us. But we have to understand that ultimately, we make our own decision in life. Buying house could be the biggest decision in life because it's the biggest asset. So nobody is responsible for your own decision except yourself. So my sharing just now, it serves as a guide, but ultimately you are the decision maker for this. Okay? Now the next question is actually to be posted by Pauline. Hi Pauline, if you're watching, I'm just going to say hi here. Pauline is from PJ. And she says she found a very good student accommodation investment with 8% rental yield. Is it good to invest? I think here I need to break down to few parts. So I think definitely Pauline is looking for investment property. The thing is, 8% is very attractive. My condo, I think if I can get anything above 4% rental yield, close to 5%, I think everybody is happy because our mortgage rate is about 4%, 4.35, 4.25%. That's about it. So 8% sounds really attractive. Okay? Now, let me break down my analysis for this. Good student accommodation, rental yield is 8%. Is it good to invest? Let's take a look. This is actually what's happening now. In general, student accommodation can fetch higher rental yield. There's no secret about it. Some of the places, they are famous for student accommodation and their owners getting a very good, very healthy cash flow, very good rental yield. Of course, we won't miss Sunway, Subang, especially Section 15. Setapak. Of course, the other one is Cyberjaya, and up and coming, we'll see a lot more student accommodation coming up in Nila as well. Now, this is going to be a very niche sub-sales market, okay? Because most of the time, you want to sub-sales this, put your property in the area for the next buyer. You will be seeing more investors looking at rental yield other than own stay. The reason is very simple. Because if I'm going to buy a property for family staying, or if I'm a working adult, sometimes by virtue, I will try to avoid students because student accommodation, they will have a different schedule, life schedule, daily schedule compared to working adult. Because we have to wake up early, some family members, they have to fetch their kids in the early morning. So having a different time schedule in a condo or in a residential area full of students, they bound to me have conflicts in terms of the sleeping time, working time as well. Now, always understand this. Pauline, I hope you are watching this. For all of us who ever buy property, we must have an exit plan. That means we not only need to know how to get on the bus, we must know how to get off the bus. Some people say, I don't have an exit plan. My plan is to pass it on to my children. I'm not deciding, I wouldn't be able to sell. I won't sell it. Say, I won't sell it, I will pass it on to my children. Passing on to your children is an exit plan. Because your name is no longer on the property. So coming back to this, we must have an exit plan. That means that even though the renter is giving good for your student accommodation property, you must have an exit plan when you plan to sell it. And when you plan to sell it, who will be your subsequent buyer? Okay, let's take the next one. If I were to look into the student accommodations, I will ask myself this question. It's very simple, it's very fast, but straight to the point. If I'm renting out this property to the student there, will this student stay back in the area after graduating? Are there enough job opportunities? Okay, I'll give you an example. If I were to invest in Subang, invest in Sunway, students are very familiarized with the areas. So if they get a job nearby, chances that they might stay back. So in other words, I have an exit plan for my property. That means their own stay will be coming. But let's say I'm looking at student accommodation in a faraway land, and they purposely zone it as an education hub, whereby most of the people, most of the tenants will be staying in the accommodation around there are students. Then the question will be, you need to ask yourself, after this student graduated, can they find a job nearby? Will they stay back in this area after graduating? If the answer is no, or most likely no, I will be inclined towards not investing on this. So I hope I answered the question. So not all student accommodations is same. So it depends, is student graduating from here, from the university, college around here, will they stay back? Are there enough jobs for them? That will be the major catalyst, major factors I'll be considering before I put my money down into student accommodation, right? Hi, Joel, it's good to see you here. Wilson. Okay. Next, before I go on there, I want to highlight to you today we are giving out also a 4K sports camera come video camera. So how to win this basically is very simple. Two ways, share the most And you can post a question in our comments. We'll pick up the question. We'll find out what are the most interesting questions. These people will walk away with our lucky prize. And again, the lucky prize is a 4K sports camera cam recorder. Okay? Now, let me come to the next question. Okay, this one is actually quite general. It's outside Malaysia. This one is posted by AK from Oakland Road. He asked, China reduced reserve ratio by 50 basis points. What does it mean? Okay, it's far away, but China has much bigger influence to Asian countries, even to Malaysia, compared to 20 years ago. I think nobody can ignore the fact whatever is impacting the China is impacting us as well. So let me just take a closer look of this. I think reserve ratio, maybe some of you are not too familiar with the terms, but I think it's a very important economic indicator where the monetary policy is heading. So RR, reserve ratio, basically it means how much percentage a bank must keep in the reserve instead of lending it out. So in short, liquidity. To put things in a simple way, today let's say if I'm a bank, let's say I'm a public bank. So if I receive 100 millions in deposit throughout the nation today, can I lend out the whole 100 million? The answer is no. So how much I need to keep? How much I need to lend out? For example, if the reserve ratio today is 3%, it means that me as a bank, as an individual bank, the maximum amount I can lend out is 97 million. So 100% minus the 3% reserve ratio, it will indicate how much money I can lend out, which is 97 million. So what it means in short, a reduction by the government, central government, by central bank, by reducing the reserve ratio, it means more liquidity goes to the market. Reduce in reserve ratio, in short, RR or triple R, more liquidity to the market. Okay. What signal is getting out is China basically has cut 8 times the reserve ratio since 2018. And what the signal is it sending to? Basically, they want to create a loose monetary policy and at the same time, helping the smaller bank to cut down their cost of funding. Think about this. A lot of times, we will use population against the number of properties. That means that if there are more populated area, the more demand for the property around there, which is true. But a lot of times we actually forget one thing, liquidity. People with no liquidity to buy property, the transaction of the property cannot be done. So pumping the liquidity into the market, it creates more circulated money in the market. Therefore, it will create an upstream demand to the property as well. Malaysia just cut its reserve ratio, I think last month in the year of 2019 to 3%. Also by the same quantum, 50 basis point. So look at the impact for the China this time. This round, smaller bank will receive, I'm talking about yuan, renminbi. You're looking to pump in 70.4 billion yuan and long-term fund released to the market is amounted to 800 billion. Can you see a small cut, 0.5%? Immediately, you're looking at 800 billion yuan released to the market. So, if you ask me, there's very important signals government is sending to the market. Just a short recap. If you remember in the year of 2008 and 2013, this 5 years period, we actually witnessed the history. The history is basically Malaysian property experienced the highest appreciation in this 5 years period. And this has very much to do with the monetary policy, not just by the Bank Negara, as well as by the central bank, especially from the Federal Reserve of US, which is the central bank of US. Okay, so I think you are looking for property investment. You cannot separate out the monetary policy to the property. So I think very good questions, AK. You're watching. I'm thanking for your questions, and I hope whatever I have is answerable to you. My sharing is good for you. Okay. So at times, cut in RR is more important than interest rate. That's my perspective. A lot of times you are looking at OPR, overnight policy rate. So we're thinking that if central bank cut the interest rate, which is the OPR, we get cheaper loan. It's true. But think about this. If I'm applying for 500,000 loan, if the bank is not willing to give out the credit to the market, to me as an individual borrower, even the interest rate reduced to 2%, it won't help me. It won't help me. Because why? I can only draw at the 2% loan. I won't be able to entitle. RR actually plays a more significant role in determining how, what we call the water tap of the banks. So if they cut the RR, it means the water tap is turning on. More water is flowing, more liquidity is flowing to the market. Okay? Hi Chris, thank you for watching. Hi Lewis. Hi Iqbal, good to see you here after Phuket. And actually this has covered the most questions, but I have another question just pop in. I think I can share with you. So this is Eric. Eric is from Setapa. So Eric said that compressed loan is driving up the market price for property. What's my view on it? Compressed loan, I think this is a very unique and a bit sensitive questions. But let me just share with you. Compressed loan is a multiple submission loan. As you know, people submit multiple loans at one time. So his question is it driving up the market price or is it still doable at this time? So let me answer the question is compressed loan driving up the property market? My answer is unlikely, because if you look at the percentage of people that are doing this and able to get the loan through is very limited. And when I say limited, it's not only limited to the numbers of people, but it's also limited to a particular project. Let's come and think about this. What's the main ingredients for the existence of compressed loan? You're watching, you can share with me. I can. What is the main ingredients for the existence for this formula of the compressed loan? Very simple, straightforward answer. Huge cash out. If developers are not giving a huge cash rebate, 30%, 40%, compressed loan is not attractive at all. Now, come and think about this. When is the market? What kind of market will incentivize developer to give out huge cash rebate? Is it an up market, hot market, or the market is not so good, a slow market? So what we are saying now, if you see compressed loan is very popular, developer had to give out a huge cash rebate. In this case, the market is in a slow market. Because one, the market is turning around to a buyer's market. People are buying. A seller's market, we call seller's market. When people start buying, you can see the willingness of developer giving out huge cash rebate is reducing. Therefore, it will basically reduce a compressed loan. And the other thing, is compressed loan still doable? I'm not in financial institution and bank a long time ago, but I've talked to some people, is actually to eliminate the practice of compressed loan, it doesn't require a huge infrastructure, a huge revamping of the system in the bank. What the bank need to do is very simple. You can apply 7 loans from 7 banks, but the only thing the bank need to do is before they disperse the fund, they do another round of secret checking. They will know how many loans you're applying. Therefore, it's up to them to decide whether they want to slash the margin or they want to terminate the whole loan for you, and all the onus will be on you. So I think some of the banks are following this practice. Before they release the loan out, disperse the loan, they will actually do one more round of secret checking, not just during application time, but during disbursement time as well. So I hope I answered your question, Eric. So that should be coming to the end of it. Okay, so don't forget, you want to stand a chance to win the 4K action camera or the video cam recorder. Share the session with your friends who think it's beneficial to them. And I see you guys next round. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to check out even more fun, entertaining, awesome content, please log on to our IQI Network website. And please don't forget to subscribe to our IQI official YouTube channel for the latest update and contents. I see you all there.